And even for those who are able to escape Ukraine, a new set of dangers lies ahead. The chaotic refugee crisis on the border is creating another danger for those fleeing the Russians.
For predators and human traffickers, war is not a tragedy, it is an opportunity. And women and children are the targets.
Which is why our next guest, Tatiana Kotlyarenko, a leading expert on trafficking, is working with her team at Alliance for Children Ukraine to protect thousands of women and children. Tatiana, a war against mothers and children, an opportunity for predators. Is that how you see this?
I definitely see it like this. The majority of those that are fleeing are women and children. They are fleeing without knowing where they're going and what is going on and what is going to happen to them, while the initial flows were of people who had some sort of contacts on the ground, family, friends. The next flows that came were of women and children who are just getting on whatever train, whatever transportation, getting across the border. And what they're finding there is not always people who are willing to help them, but people who are looking to exploit them. On the international market, Ukrainian women who are white, considered to be very beautiful, as well as children, are a lucrative item. And you have predators who are scheming and who are meeting them with offers of help, taking away their passports, and then trafficking them onwards to fill the different spots and demands of the sex industry around the world.
Is this a potential risk, or you're seeing it happen?
I've been hearing reports of it happening actually on the ground. So it is a risk, and it is a vulnerability for every woman and child passing through borders. But from the accounts I've been hearing on the ground from different NGOs and government officials, this is actually happening.
3 million refugees have already left the country. Are they being tracked in any way? How do we know many aren't lost, maybe lost forever?
There have been reports of buses of children disappearing. In the initial stages, there were very little controls. There were NGOs who were coming to help. There were potentially others who are not NGOs who were coming to help but exploit children and women in the process.
We keep hearing about... yes?
I said the full scope of this issue will be seen later on, not necessarily now. Now there are reports here and there, but this is happening, and this is, as the Secretary General Guterres said, a real issue in terms of conflict and war, where people come in to exploit the most vulnerable, and generally women and children.
Well, if we don't get the full scope until later on will be too late. I realize we're in wartime, but are these different countries, Poland, Romania, Ukraine, are the governments trying to work together to address this?
There needs to be, I think, more unity across the EU, since most of the flows are going into EU, to create comprehensive and unified child protection systems, as well as protection systems for vulnerable populations, women and children. For example, in Poland, they have set up a center called Stalowa Wola for unaccompanied minors, which is doing an excellent job, and which I had the honor of visiting. And the mayor himself is really controlling who can come and pick up any children, and everybody is vetted before any children are moved on.
That's what I want to ask you about, because we keep hearing about all of these orphanages all over Ukraine, and children are now being transported out. Well, a former U.S. politician is trying to get Ukrainian kids to the United States to eventually be adopted. And for a lot of civilians who don't know the country, don't know the rules, they think, well, that sounds good. These are orphans. We're trying to bring them to a safe place. But it is not that simple. Can you explain?
No, it's definitely not that simple. Although there are a lot of people who really want to help Ukrainian children, there are specific procedures that need to be followed. There are specific adoption procedures. Ukraine just recently also passed a new piece of legislation to ensure that child protection systems are in place. It needs to be done government to government, with particular agreements in place and procedures followed for adoption for each particular family.
You have been working on human trafficking, sex trafficking all over the world in the most dangerous areas during war times and crises. How do you compare what you're seeing right now in Ukraine?
The situation is massive. As I said, Ukrainian women and children are particularly valued on the sex trafficking market. And the flows are just so huge. And although the response systems are there to some degree in terms of everybody trying, there needs to be a more comprehensive approach set up all across. If you look at the border, there are no particular billboards, hotlines present. I know that people are handing out flyers. I know there are NGOs really trying, but there needs to be a registration system and a follow-through system to see children, but also women from point A to final destination.
That's what the governments there need to do most right now. For those of us watching here in the United States, what do you want us to know? What does your organization and other organizations like you need?
What we need is a comprehensive setup where there's a partnership between government and civil society to not only create awareness of the issue, but a concrete response system to the issue. There needs to be a hotline that is united across all of Europe, that is available to all of those traveling in Ukrainian, Russian, and local languages. And there needs to be a strengthened response in terms of law enforcement and anti-trafficking units, which will continue following up leads and information on the ground at all times, because the flows are happening at all times.
Tatiana, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for the work that you are doing.